We talked to our guy, Ross Tucker, at Ross Tucker NFL, talking Eagles on social media. Ross, how we doing?
What's going on?
I am doing fantastic. How about you guys?
Well, we're doing, wins and losses wise,
Reckless
we're doing
speculation.
great.
We over here recklessly speculating about what's going on with the Eagles.
There's always drama with the Eagles, Ross. You know this. Ross, what was your take on the report, the conjecture, what Derek Gunn was hearing? It was on his post-game show with Seth Joyner about people within the Eagles having frustration at Jalen Hurts. How do you reconcile that with the fact that the team is 8-2?
Well, I guess I want to start with this. Was the frustration... I have a bunch of thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, man, I can't believe you guys have to do this every day. Every week there's new drama. Every day there's like a new... gosh, I'm glad I'm only on for 10 minutes. I guess I would say... Are we sure how much of it's on the field versus something off the field? Do we know that?
So, recklessly speculating, no.
We don't. There was one part where Seth was on the morning show yesterday and was kind of expounding on the conversation that was aired the night before in their postgame show, and he referenced that play where Jalen threw the interception to Flott against the Giants in the first Giants game, that in practice, apparently, Jalen had thrown that ball quite a few times to AJ. Like that was where it was supposed to go. They did it in practice. He did it. And then in the game, for whatever reason, he didn't. So I guess to answer your question, I would take that part of it as an on-the-field thing.
Yeah, I mean, if the question is, what do I make of frustration about Jalen Hurts, like, I'm not surprised. I think there's frustration to go around right now. I get frustrated at times when Hurts takes some of the sacks he takes. But you know what? I've learned to appreciate how careful he is with the football. And I think he figured out at some point, we have a really good team. In fact, we have a better team than pretty much everybody we play. So as long as I'm not turning it over and giving it to the other team, we have a really good chance to win. As a former offensive lineman, does it bother me at times, some of the sacks he takes? And I think, why didn't he throw the ball to that guy? Or why doesn't he throw the ball away? I think he could do a better job of throwing the ball away at times. I've learned to accept the good with the bad. The good is that at times his running's a major positive. And the best good is that he doesn't turn the football over, or at least very, very rarely, which gives the Eagles an excellent opportunity to win these games, especially with the defense playing the way they did these last two games.
Ross, obviously it's all in the context of the team, and if the defense is playing at a dominant level, it kind of changes the way you need to play an offense. But just specifically the passing game, I'm curious what you think when you watch the games. Do you think there is a chance that Jalen and the offense may have crossed the line too far into being conservative? What I mean by that is, do you think defenses know if we show this look, if we are in this area around a receiver, he just won't pull the trigger anymore because he doesn't want to turn the ball over, and it's kind of changing the way looks they're getting because the teams just know if we do this, he won't throw it?
No, I don't, because I think we forget a couple things. One is, it was just the Vikings game where they had over 200-yard receivers and were throwing the ball deep the whole game. And do you know, going into Sunday night's game against Detroit, that Hurts had an NFL best 17 completions of over 20 yards in the air? Like I
would not have guessed that if you didn't tell me.
Nobody would have. And that's fair, but it's true. I did the game for Westwood One, so I did all the research. 17 completions of over 20 air yards. Now, he had 16 going to the Packers game, which was really impressive. The only one in the Packers game was a touchdown to Devontae. Mm-hmm. So it was 17. I'm not sure I'm trying to think, did he have any this last game? Maybe the Dotson one?
The Dotson one felt like it was probably that. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe the Dotson one. So this idea that they don't push the ball down the field is false. They had several bad drops. It was clearly a really tough night to throw the ball. And I've watched enough this year, guys, that I think, and Joe, you might have written about this in the articles that you write. I think it's time to really study A.J. Brown as a player, because he made some tremendous contested catches Sunday night against Detroit. He's got such strong hands. He's so strong at the catch point. But, guys, they're all contested. Every time they throw the ball to him, every time you watch him, it's contested. It seemed like he used to be able to get open so easily, especially crossing routes or slants. He used to catch the slant and just keep running full speed. Now, when he's catching the slant, the DB's like piggybacking him, like on his back, and like tackles him right there, and you're just happy that he's able to catch the ball. My eyes tell me that he's not as explosive as he was, the first 3 years or whatever it was.
Ross, I'm with you. I mean, the numbers say that. And then, sometimes we get lost in like the game, watching every week, every game, and you're trying to comparing it to what you think you saw. Ross, I recently came across highlights, I guess because it was the Lions week, right? So all that stuff was in my algorithms. I saw highlights of his first game as an Eagle, the first game of the 22 season when they were in Detroit. Ross, I look like a different player. I mean, and that Lions team was worse, so obviously that's probably part of what I was seeing. But he was wide open. He would catch a slant and burst 5 yards away from defenders. Ross, I feel like I haven't seen that in a long time, and part of it seems understandable, right? He had a hamstring last year, a knee in the postseason, a hamstring again twice this year. Ross, I think that might be part of it. Maybe he's not done, but maybe it's just he's physically not what he used to be right now.
Correct. And that, I would say, makes sort of the way he's conducted himself this year really, really questionable. I think if you are a guy that's a totally dominant player, to make those comments, I mean, I don't like them regardless, right? I don't like someone making those comments regardless. I think you should handle it behind closed doors. But I think it's especially curious if you're not out there dominating when you have man-to-man coverage with guys that aren't even, frontline starters. I mean, even if you just watch the balls they throw to him, the balls they don't throw to him, it's not like he's, you can watch other receivers get frustrated because they run a route, they're open, they don't get the ball. I don't see that a lot when I watch A.J. Brown. I don't see that. And so that is what makes kind of the way he's going about. Maybe he notices that. Maybe he realizes he's not quite what he used to be, and he wants to get the ball to show he can still do it. I don't know what the psychology is there.
You know what, Ross? I'm kind of curious because we talk about this Eagles offense and how inept they are and all this other stuff, but I'm kind of looking at it like this. You've went through the tougher part of your schedule, and you've come out better for it. You didn't lose any games, didn't score a whole lot of points, but you didn't lose any games. So the question I have for you is this. Who do you see right now as the biggest obstacle in the NFC for the Philadelphia Eagles to get to the Super Bowl?
Oh, I think the Rams are the best team in the NFL by a decent margin. Yeah, I mean, I think the Rams are really, really good. Both sides of the ball. I mean, Stafford's probably the MVP of the league. Their defense is a lot better than people realize. That D-line is legit. They've lost 2 games, the Eagles game and the Niners game, because in those games they had 3 kicks blocked. The Eagles blocked 2 of them, and the Niners blocked an extra point, and that game ended up going to overtime. I think the Rams are the best team in football, and I don't think it's by like a tiny amount. I think right now they are clearly the best team in the NFL. And now, look, there's a lot of football to be played, and I mean, the Lions might have been the best team last year, and then they lost to the Commanders in the divisional rounds. It doesn't really matter, but second week in a row, my power rankings on the Ross Tucker podcast, I have the Rams number 1. And here's the other thing. The Rams are not afraid of the Eagles at all, and the Rams gave them by far their best game in the playoffs last year, which was super impressive, by the way, in the snow for an L.A. team to play that well. And then, we all saw what happened in the regular season matchup this year. The Rams, I thought, were the better team in that game. Eagles, kudos to them with the comeback and the block kicks and the whole deal, and they won the game. But I think the Rams are the best team in football right now.
Ross, let's end with this. In any other year, probably, or the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years, losing Lane Johnson is a huge, huge deal. And I'm not saying it's not a big deal, But how big do you think it is based on the player he's been this year and then the drop-off, whatever that is at this point, to Fred Johnson? How significant of a loss will it be the next 4 to 6 weeks, assuming that is the timeline for Lane? And maybe compare that to in other years, how big it would have been.
Yeah, I think it's ironically maybe even bigger, Joe, because of how much they've been using a sixth offensive lineman. I think because now you've essentially made two positions worse. You go from one of the best right tackles we've ever seen, even if he wasn't quite as good this year as he had been, to a guy that's kind of an average journeyman backup, which thankfully the Eagles have him. Because I see other teams, guys, they can't even run plays because their backup offensive linemen don't give him a chance. They don't even give him a chance. So we're very thankful for Fred Johnson, but that's a significant drop-off. And now every week that edge rusher, the Micah Parsons type, they're going to be going over Fred Johnson. He better be ready because he's going to get tested. But then this extra offensive lineman, Fred had been doing a really nice job with that. I don't know if Matt Pryor is going to do as good of a job. And it's very clear that the Eagles, right or wrong, want that extra blocker in the run game. And I'm really struggling, guys, with Grant Calcaterra. I am really struggling with him. They have him out there 30 snaps a game, and he was like a receiver in high school. He was a pass-catching tight end at Oklahoma and at SMU. But for the Eagles, they have him out there primarily blocking, which he's objectively not good at. I really struggle with that one. I mean, I hope the Eagles start playing Granson more because Granson gives you more as a blocker, and they hardly ever throw the ball to that guy anyway. So why not? We know that they're going to throw it to Goddard, AJ, or Devontae, and every once a game, Dotson or like the other tight end. So in my mind, the other tight end should be Granson or be an offensive lineman. They're so close to breaking some of these. Go back and watch some of their counters where if Calcaterra gets the guy up in the hole, Saquon probably takes it to the house. It's not an easy position, but it's, as you can tell, I'm a little frustrated by that one.
Yeah, I can tell. And hope maybe they'll listen to you and we'll get some more explosive plays here. Ross, we appreciate it as always. Have a great week, and we'll catch up next time.
Sounds great. See you guys.
There he goes. Ross Tucker.